feel we've learnt a great lesson from this week's Doctor Who episode, The Well. Never write off RTD. The ratings may be low, but the episodes so far have been fire. Let's talk about Doctor Who, The Well. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X, Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. On TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60. Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to this latest review of a Doctor Who episode, a brand spanking new episode that maybe not all of you have watched, or maybe you've decided not to watch Doctor Who anymore. What a damn mistake, because this is yet another uppercut to the fandom menace and right-wing YouTube and social media in general, because Doctor Who The Well was absolutely outstanding. There will be huge spoilers in this video. If you don't like spoilers, if you get offended, then switch off now and come back once you've watched the episode, or when you don't mind about being spoiled. So are you ready for spoiler number one? The Well is a direct sequel to the Doctor Who Season 4 revival episode, Midnight. Midnight. It's a sequel to Midnight. I bet you want to watch it now. It's a great sequel to Midnight. Have I spoiled it for you? I'm sorry, because really, I didn't see that twist coming. I didn't know that, and I mean, they started talking about diamonds, and I thought, no way. And then all of a sudden, and he goes, what was this planet called? And they go, one whatever, right? They go, no, when it was named. And because I think this is like 500,000 years in the future or whatever, right? And they say the planet Midnight. So it's an amazing twist. And, you know, well done RTD, because I screamed. When it was revealed, I actually screamed. Yes, I screamed, damn it. I don't care about low ratings. I don't care about people hashtagging RIP Doctor Who. As long as I'm watching Doctor Who and enjoying Doctor Who, that's all I care about. I want you all to enjoy Doctor Who, by the way. And I've noticed I don't get a lot of views for my Doctor Who videos because predominantly, I talk about DC, the DCU. But I love Doctor Who, and I'm going to talk about it till the bitter end, no matter who's watching at the end of the day. And if we don't get a lot of views on here for this, it doesn't really matter, because I will always love Doctor Who despite all the toxicity around Doctor Who at the moment. But so far, you know, the series has been fantastic. If you don't take any notice of the Planet Incel thing, it's a great episode, the first episode of the season. Then the second episode is outstanding, absolutely great Doctor Who, very fresh storytelling. And this week was absolutely fantastic. And I think one of the big decisions that RTD made this year was having Anita Dobson turn up every episode, because you're kind of on tenterhooks. How will she show up this time? What's she going to say? And by the way, the reveal of Dobson this week was the best so far. And I'm going to talk about the premise first, right? We'll get to the twist with Dobson, because it was very, very interesting. I'm not even sure if I understood it, but it is interesting, especially because Michelle Gomez, aka Missy the Master, was at the premiere party thing when they were premiering the first episode or whatever, right? Was it the first 2 episodes? Whatever it was. So that's interesting as well. Maybe she was just there, right? It doesn't mean she's actually going to be in Doctor Who, but who knows? Who knows? And that could be part of the Mrs. Flood mystery. So the premise is that, and I like the continuity in the beginning of the episode. They're still dressed up like they were in the previous episode. He's got his bow tie on. Nobody got too excited about the Doctor wearing a bow tie again, by the way. You know, it hasn't happened. I think Jodie put one on, didn't she, quickly? But yeah, that was Matt Smith's insignia, wasn't it? The bow tie. Bow ties are cool. And they are very, very cool. So, they're still trying to get to Earth, and they can't. So they land, as I say, 500,000, 5,000 years in the future, whatever it is, right? And they've arrived at some kind of mining colony or whatever it is, right? And there's an expedition team. They're exploring, And the Doctor and Belinda introduce themselves, and they're kind of sent down with the exploration team, and that's when SHIT gets real. So they're kind of searching. Then they discover this deaf woman who's just there on her own. They've discovered all these bodies, broken necks, broken bodies, and she's there on her own. They don't trust her. Is she the root cause? She's acting all innocent. I want to go home. Take me to my daughter. But it's a brilliant episode because it's a tense psychological thriller in the sense that you don't know if the deaf woman is a good guy or a bad guy. Is she an alien? What's going on? And I suppose we should have guessed it was a sequel to Midnight in the way they did it. There was a lot of paranoia pre-Midnight reveal. And I really liked the way they revealed the whole Midnight thing because you see a quick flashback of the 10th Doctor, aka David Tennant. And I mean, that's one of the best, Midnight is one of the best episodes ever penned by RTD. Damn it, it's one of the best episodes in Doctor Who history. It's one of the best episodes in science fiction TV history in general. And I've always said it's much more scarier psychologically than Blink is. Blink's like an old-fashioned horror movie in a way, with aliens as statues, right? But I think that Blink, I like Blink, I love Blink. I think Moffat created a great concept in The Weeping Angels, but I think it's a very overrated episode of Doctor Who in my opinion. So yes, it's a sequel to Midnight. We start to notice when the Doctor and Belinda start talking about Earth that nobody's heard of Earth before. In fact, someone says to Belinda, I think, or is it the Doctor, what a stupid name for a planet. So what's going on? They can't get to Earth. No one's heard of Earth. So it looks like Earth has been deleted out of existence. How has that happened? So that's very interesting as well. And so, yeah, there's this paranoia. You know, this deaf woman, they've got her sitting there on her own, they're questioning her, and then all of a sudden they're seeing something, but they're not seeing something. And then when the Doctor hears that they're on Midnight, they're basically on Midnight, that's when he runs, and that's when he tries to connect with, well, tries to talk to what's behind the deaf woman, basically, rather than talking to the deaf woman. One of the neatest things is that the Doctor can sign language. I thought that was great. I thought it's great that the Doctor can actually do sign language, because if the Doctor is that smart, and you know he's been around for over 1,000 years now, should be absolutely should be able to do sign language. So I thought that was neat. And at first I thought, well, is Belinda going to go move out the way? I can do sign. That would have really annoyed me. So I'm happy that the Doctor did sign language, and he's the one who could communicate with the deaf woman. And so, because the Doctor's encountered this being before, so it's kind of personal to the Doctor, and the Doctor starts to become really scared, and the Doctor can hear this entity speak. Now, we don't really hear what the entity is saying. It's a female voice, and the Doctor claims that she says his name. Now, I don't know if it's the Doctor's name. Maybe I misheard it. Maybe we heard it say the Doctor, or was it the actual Doctor's name? Very, very interesting. So it's a very tense psychological thriller. It's a psychological horror, if you like, and I really enjoyed that element of it. So, Mrs. Flood. Now this was very, very interesting because something interesting happened, because she's kind of interviewing her. She's looking different this time. She's looking very businesslike and official, and she's talking to this woman from, you know, where the Doctor was, and she's kind of interviewing her, and she's going, tell me about this person. Well, he had a blue box, blah, blah, blah. And did he have, and he had a rod. Was it like this rod? And she goes, and then Mrs. Flood goes, yes, as we thought. So that obviously means something. So that's interesting. But then all of a sudden, one of the women from this time hears the TARDIS leaving. Now, I'm a bit confused here whether this is the Doctor's TARDIS, if this is the Doctor and Belinda leaving, or has Mrs. Flood got a damn TARDIS? Now, think about it. Mrs. Flood has got a TARDIS. Mrs. Flood has got a TARDIS. She keeps on appearing in different times, in different places, and now in the future. So Mrs. Flood has absolutely got a TARDIS. Otherwise, she'd be doing what that dog god did last season and be hitching a ride on the Doctor's TARDIS all this time. And I don't think that's the case. So I think we can absolutely say that Mrs. Flood has a TARDIS. I'm still sticking with, I have got a new kind of theory, but I think she's not part of the problem, she's part of the solution. She's trying to help the Doctor and she's trying to save the Doctor. Maybe she's trying to save the Doctor from himself. I believe, because the theme of gods is there, and the Doctor's already dealt and fought with some gods, I believe that Mrs. Flood is a god. It could be revealed that the Doctor is an actual god as well. Maybe this is where we're going, right? So I don't know where that means the Doctor's from, because we still don't know what world the Doctor's from, right? And he's from another universe, right? So I think the Doctor's a god. I think maybe Belinda could be connected to all of that, and maybe even Ruby Sunday could be connected to all of that. Are they gods as well? I don't know, but I do know Ruby is back next week, and I'm pausing the episode because I needed to go to loo, and I was thinking to myself, it's going to be a lighter episode next week because this one was so dark. This is what they do. If you're a dark episode, you've got to have a light episode. Then you're going to have the Eurovision episode as well, which is going to be way lighter. That'll be an interesting one as well. But yeah, like this episode, this is what I think. This is Doctor Who. This is what Doctor Who's all about. It's a psychological thriller. It's scary. So look, I love this episode. I couldn't recommend it enough. When I tell you something's good, right, I mean it. I'm not a shill. If I don't like Doctor Who, I've told you before, if I don't like Doctor Who, I've spoken about the issues and what's going on with the show. But you have to give it to RTD. These first 3 episodes have been brilliant. Now, he co-wrote this with a female writer. I'm assuming she wrote the script and maybe he wrote the story. Maybe that's how it works. So maybe he was shadowing her. This is very, very kind of Chris Chibnall, because he spoke about having a writer's room. He absolutely didn't have a writer's room. He was hands-on and he was co-writing episodes with other writers, and it looks like RTD doesn't really trust anyone to write episodes on their own. But we'll see if someone actually gets an episode on their own. I can't remember what happened last year, if he let anyone loose on an episode. I can't recall. I'm sure that he did. But he's very hands-on, right? RTD is very hands-on. It's his baby. This could explain why last year was so mid, because I don't think last year was bad. I just think it was middle of the road. He was building up to this arc, and this is the 2nd chapter. Now, this is supposed to go on for 4 seasons. Will he get the opportunity to tell his story? It's only, for me, it's only going to get better, but I think so far it's been outstanding. And even though the ratings are really, really low, I spoke last week about, I think they're low, and I can't defend those ratings, but I think they just may be enough for them to justify going forward. I don't know. But I simply don't know what the BBC need, and I simply don't know what Disney need. Because it's clear, if the ratings were really, really good and they were happy, Disney would have signed on for another 2 seasons. So it's clear there's some thinking to be done, or maybe they've decided to get out. I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting what happens with the future of Doctor Who. As I've said before, I don't feel we're going to have Doctor Who next year because we've got Beyond the Land and Sea, the spin-off to Doctor Who. I think it's about the Sea Devils, right? So there'll be no Doctor Who next year for sure. I'm very, very sure about that. But will it be back the following year? Will it be back in 2027? Or is it going to be cancelled? Is it going to be, will they sell it as a hiatus? I'm sure they will. They won't want to admit that the show's been cancelled, that they haven't been good enough and that they've triggered fans and all of that. But I have to give it to RTD. It's been a lot better this year. I mean, the Christmas special, I said before, was very, very mid as well. But the first 3 episodes of season 2, or whatever it is it season 15 or season 40, whatever it is, whatever you want to number it as, I think it's been really good. We've seen really good modern day, 3 really good modern day episodes of Doctor Who, and I'm really, really happy with the quality of all 3 episodes. Of course, I'm concerned about the ratings. Of course, I'm concerned about the future about this show, because At the end of the day, there's always Doctor Who stories to tell. It's a story of a character that travels through time and space. So there's always going to be stories to tell. So it'll be very, very interesting what the future holds for Doctor Who.